Okay, so in my prior video I talked about insulating the dryer tub, and I wound up doing it, and I put it in, and I was like, holy cow, my dryer is quiet. You know, I threw some clothes in there just to make sure I wasn't delusional, but this is Frost King foam and foil insulation. And of course, you got to be cut out for the belt with some 3M duct tape. And then there's, of course, this is the same material in here. But I cut a smaller strip to go up here. You could just probably run it all the way over and then up and over. But I'm telling you, man, I was looking for just a little more efficiency in the heater element in the dryer, so this would stay warmer and, you know, dry the clothes faster. And I did a little test. I was like, holy cow, I had a dryer ball in there, right? Could barely hear the dryer ball. I was like, wow. So pulled it out. I added another little layer here because I had stopped here. I added another strip here and then taped it down. It makes a huge difference, so you don't have that, you know, the notorious zipper slap in the dryer that you always hear, you know, when you're drying clothes with buttons or zippers. Me, I don't like that. It drives me nuts. So this cut the sound by about 60%. Over here, this is what I was talking about in the prior video. Insulating this is also Frost King, and then I've got metal duct tape over this to kind of keep everything in place. And this is sealed up pretty well. In my test run, I could put my hand on this, and it was barely any heat coming through. So that's going to help keep this motor cool. And one thing on the motor I didn't go over. On this motor, I stuck it on the bench, and I used some penetrating oil because inside these bearings, there's a felt reservoir inside the bearings, inside them, and that holds the oil or grease that they put in them at the factory. And it took me about 20 minutes of squirting penetrating oil with this standing up in the vise. I squirt penetrating oil under the cap and let it soak in. It took a good 10 minutes, and then spin the shaft to get that reservoir full of oil again on both sides here. See, you can't see it, but it's inside there. There's a piece of felt around the bearing and the race that keeps it lubricated. So I filled those up with penetrating oil, and then I added some I have some special additive that I really like, and this stuff is really good if you're trying to protect metals. So the Bardol B12, well, or B2 Bravo 2 oil treatment, that stuff works well. Okay, so whenever I'm using dealing with bearings, I use that, and I use that in my motor oil, and good stuff. Anyway, put a little B2 in there, squirted, actually I used Seafoam. So Seafoam and B2 Bartles, resaturated the felt pad, oiling pad inside these bearing bushings, probably bushings, and made sure that I kept spraying them until they wouldn't saturate and hold anymore, and then wipe the excess off. Of course, clean the oil off your spindle. Try and get all the oil off the motor, because when this runs, if there's oil on here, it's going to spin out, get on your spindle. It's going to cause your belt to slip. So you got to try and keep this stuff clean. So there you have it. Putting the blower wheel back onto the motor is not, you don't have to disassemble the back. I mean, the blower wheel just kind of sits in here. You can slide the motor shaft into the blower wheel and then wiggle it with a pair of vice grips or pliers to get it lined up. And remember, your reverse threads, so you're going to turn counterclockwise to tighten it. So you're going to go this way to tighten up on that blower wheel, and then once you got it threaded in, get a wrench or put a vice grips on here, whatever, something to hold this without breaking it. And then it doesn't have to be that tight, you know, give it a good little quarter-inch turn on this side of your shaft to tighten in that blower wheel. So there it is, Frankenpool. So I'd highly recommend doing this. Insulate the ductwork going through this cavity. That'll help keep everything running cooler. And then hopefully this doesn't fall off with the heat. I'm assuming it won't, because this is Frost King foil and foam, and it's made for ductwork and high heat applications. This is 3M ductwork tape made for high heat applications. You don't want to get down in the channel where your roller guides run, you know, because you don't want to get all tore up. You got to leave a space for your belts. But yeah, I'm quite impressed. So I'll do another video of this running with a dryer ball in it when I'm all done. But I pulled it back out, add a little more insulation and some tape on the side here. I'll put it back together and get it running. I'll do a final video on how quiet this is. So hopefully this helps somebody out. If you want your dryer to be quieter, try this out.